Why is the MW2 campaign so goddamn mid?
Shut up! Shut the fuck up!
Nothing breaks my heart more than watching the Red Sox get their back blown out all season and to not make an MW2 campaign dick riding video because I wanted this to be good. I prepared for this to be good. Don't get me wrong, the first half of the game had some of the best story, acting, animation, and gameplay, sort of a few different things, while the second half of the game literally felt like Kyler Murray post Call of Duty dropping. It felt like the developers shoehorned things in, such as the crafting to give us a glimpse of the DMZ mode coming out later, and honestly, I could care less about it. Not to mention the awful boss fight. A lot of the gameplay, missions, direction got boring or went absolutely nowhere during this point. Also, the game missed an opportunity to kill off one of the 4 major characters that I think most people were expecting was going to happen at some point. Again, it just didn't happen. It also felt like the game was at its strongest with characters like Soap, Ghost, and Alejandro, their missions in the first half, while the Gaz, spoilers, and Price missions were pretty damn boring if you ask me. Another thing is that it felt like a lot of characters didn't really progress the way I felt like they were being set up to be. The best example of this, spoilers, but Alejandro isn't El Nombre. Maybe it's the goddamn evil grin always on his face, but through the entirety of the cutscene where him, Ghost, and Soap first meet, I kind of expected him to be some sort of villain. When he had Rudy go in to get Hassan, it seemed like it was a little weird that he was just waiting outside, or at least weird enough that maybe they were setting him up to be some sort of villain. Or when Soap, Ghost, and Alejandro reach the first safe house and say his intel was correct even though Hassan had just conveniently left. It felt like a weird line based off how it was delivered. Or even when they sneak into El Nombre's compound. How did he get in so quickly and so quietly? They literally asked those questions in the game, making it seem like he had some sort of insider knowledge. Or even why leave the real El Nombre uncuffed in the back of a Jeep? Maybe it's set up for later, terrible writing, or just how villains are usually set up in other projects. For those upset I haven't said anything truly positive, well, here you go. The animation and acting in this game was incredible. During multiple cutscenes, I had to do some sort of double take to see if these were real people or something developed through the power of CGI. When I've talked about the animation, 3 different cutscenes came to mind. The Graves AC-130 appearance, the El Nombre interrogation, and the Graves backstabbing everyone scene. All very wonderfully acted and animated scenes. But I want to go over the story because of a few reasons. Watch time and money, because
you know I love that shit!
Strike might as well be called Operation America Drops Its Nuts on Your Face, because that's basically what it is. Ghost navigates through the canyons of Al-Mazara to coordinate a missile strike on a convoy that is meeting with a general named Gabrani. Not sure who he is outside of that, but just assume he's bad. Once Ghost marks the target, Graves drops some massive taxpayer freedom and unalives everyone in the convoy, fading into the MW2 logo. Several months later, leads Laswell to inform General Shepard, voiced by Overlord from MW2 and the General from the good Transformers movie, that a guy named Hassan is seeking revenge for the airstrike. Kill or capture. I'd say this is MW2's Wolf Den mission, mainly because, you know, you're raiding compounds and night vision. Ghost and Soap are tasked with killing or capturing Hassan, duh. Not sure the context, but it seems Ghost seems to be annoyed by Soap, even just being there. Not sure if it's just because they've had no previous experience together or if he just doesn't like him. I kind of don't blame him because, well, Soap seems like a douche in this game. Bravo team ends up being dropped near their target location with Alpha making their way to their target location. The chopper carrying Alpha goes down with Bravo being led by Ghost and Soap having to come in for the rescue. After clearing buildings that are putting the chopper boys under fire, Ghost and Soap's team must fend off waves of fighters only to come up with the W after they call in an Apache helicopter, because there's nothing better than an Apache helicopter.
An Apache helicopter has machine guns and missiles. It is an unbelievably impressive complement of weaponry, an absolute death machine.
The team makes their way to Alpha's objective, and after coming under fire, they use more taxpayer dollars to level the compound. Well, not level, just kind of like dent it. But only ever so slightly because, you know, Hassan might be in the building. Not sure why they care because it's a unalive or capture mission. Either way, who cares? After clearing the building, Soap realizes that Hassan is gone, which Ghost points out was probably when they were actually rescuing the downed helicopter team. The team realizes more fighters are in the garage near the compound, and after clearing that, they find that Hassan and his team were in possession of American missiles. The same missiles that were used in the Gabrani strike. Dun dun dun. Wet work. After it is realized that Hassan and his boys are in possession of American missiles and have been passing them out like it's fucking Halloween, Karen from Ghost Recon realizes Amsterdam is a good place for smuggling, not to mention world-class museums, canals, and laxness on marijuana. Say no to drugs. Karen contacts Price and Gaz, spoilers, who are already in the area working to track an AQ smuggling ring. Gaz and Price tail a boat to a dock full of smugglers. Price and Gaz split up, with Gaz having to take out all the guards on the docks. Can this be a bit of a struggle? Sure, because the only accessory you have is a throwing knife in your eyes, so telling how many people there are and where they are can be a bit tough. Once done, Price, spoilers, and Gaz, spoilers, board the AQ boat to find it's full of Mexican cartel members, because there's no better branding than tattooing it on your fucking neck. Speaking of branding, I have a merch store, and with the holidays coming up, what's better than getting a BUSHBERRY t-shirt, mug, or something to hang on your wall? Which might seem like it's a little weird, but I currently have a poster of Nicolas Cage over my bed. Haha, that's weird. Link in description if you end up wanting to buy something. If you don't, that probably hurts me. After clearing the boat, Gaz finds a phone that leads the team to a meeting somewhere else in Amsterdam. Tradecraft. Price, Gaz, and Karen must capture a VIP who has possible information as to where Hassan or the missiles are. Appreciation post to Gaz for trying to look all covert when he actually just looks more sus than anything else. Not sure why this trope of the hood up or caps with sunglasses exists, but like, come on, you're more obvious than anything else. Speaking of marijuana, Gaz uses some sweet cannabis to put one of the guards into a drug-induced state, and after that uses a decoy grenade to put these two guys in a drug-induced state. Price and Gaz capture the VIP to then interrogate him as to where Hassan is, or the missiles are. I don't know. I kind of started to fall behind here. Walking around Amsterdam can be kind of fun, even if it's just a short time though. I'm not sure what this guy is really doing. Borderline. Karen contacts Alejandro of the Mexican Special Forces to obtain Hassan, who is currently in Mexico, before he crosses the border. Alejandro and Rudy are obviously tasked with obtaining him, but Hassan, obviously, crosses the border, which leads Alejandro and Rudy to cross into the US, which is outside of their jurisdiction. For those that don't know what that means, let me help you, dumbass. Jurisdiction, according to Google, the right, power, or authority to administer justice by hearing or determining controversies. Meaning these two can't just cross the border to arrest someone who's crossed the line for a crime they've committed in a different country. It could vary from state to state as well in the US, depending on what you do. If it's a federal crime, then you can be detained pretty much anywhere. But because it's left up to the US, they are the ones that have to detain them. I don't know, watch an entire YouTube video about it. I don't know, go screw. Careful when making your way through other people's property, because yes, you can use intimidation to get them back inside, yet you can't just pop them in the face to get them back inside, because it causes a mission failed. Weak. Eventually, Alejandro and Rudy meet up with some US police who try to detain them, only to find out that they're actually working with Karen. But an RPG kills everyone except Alejandro and Rudy. After fighting off the ambushers, Alejandro stays outside to watch the perimeter, sus, and Rudy heads inside to detain Hassan. Be careful, because not everyone with a gun is hostile, even if it looks like they're trying to reach for it. In some instances, though, she will get the gun and try to kill you, so fuck me, I guess. Rudy locates Hassan, who ambushes him and sets the room on fire so Rudy can burn inside with the building. Alejandro saves Rudy through some reason, whatever, I don't know. Cartel protection. Hassan apparently crossed the border again, which has led Ghost and Soap to travel to Mexico and meet up with Alejandro. That way they can capture him and get the idea of where the location of the missiles or something are. Ghost and Soap meet up with Alejandro and his army, who travel to the possible location of Hassan. On the way, Alejandro explains the state of the city and that guns being on the street with cartels everywhere and military checkpoints are a common thing due to El Sinambre having a stranglehold on the city. When asked why his men aren't a part of this, he says, you know, we grew up here, man, we wouldn't do that. They make their way to the possible location of Hassan in some village now populated by the cartel. After pushing through to the main building, it's discovered that Alejandro's intel was correct, sus, and that Hassan was there at some point, allegedly. As soon as it's been discovered, the military shows up to take out Alejandro, Soap, Ghost, and whoever else. The three, and Rodriguez, don't worry, he dies in the next 10 seconds, fend off the military to provide time for Alejandro's men to escape. Once they're clear, they make their way downhill since they themselves are cut off from their vehicles. This kind of reminds me of Lone Survivor in a way, which after playing 2019 was probably intentional. Not sure though. As you make your way downhill, you fend off more military, only to have Rodriguez be killed, pour one out. It doesn't matter though, because you jump into a river and do some swimming combat or whatever, Graves and his AC-130 level a bridge and provide cover for the team to escape or head to where they believe Hassan is. Close air. No cap, the amount of taxpayer freedom in this mission made me hard as a rock. Ghost, Alejandro, and Soap must raid a compound to find Hassan. Luckily, with the power of said taxpayer freedom is the assistance from Graves and his AC-130, who is providing cover fire for the team to make said capture. You'll be dropping rounds like Jalen Rager drops passes. Still can't believe you guys drafted him over Justin Jefferson. Be careful of where you shoot because not all buildings are clear to be fired upon and civilians are running around like crazy. After destroying the incoming convoy and the team grabbing Hassan, Soap, Ghost, Alejandro, and Rudy and Hassan make their way to their extraction point. Hard point. No, not the game mode, idiot. It's the same as Close Air except you're just defending the team until the extraction arrives. Hot take, these missions are better than the AC-130 mission from COD 4.
You know I love that shit!
After capturing Hassan, it's deemed that he's too hot to hold because in theory, he hasn't done anything wrong. They have no proof of what he's done. He's being detained in a foreign country that he hasn't started a war with. Keeping him is illegal, and killing him is an act of war. So they have to let him go and see what he does. Shame. Luckily, Karen gets some details from his phone as to where the missiles might be. Recon by fire. You know that kid that you played baseball with that admired players like David Ortiz, Gary Sheffield, or Pedro Martinez, to the point that they would make their batting stances or pitching motion to be like theirs, thinking that they could be as good as them if they did it, but instead, they just sucked? Yeah, that's this mission. Recon by Fire tries so hard to be all gillied up, but it's nowhere near as good. Price, Gaz, and Karen travel to some place in Spain to locate missiles that could be in some sort of facility. You'll do some covert sneak shit like silently taking out enemies or evading incoming patrols, the same way it was done in COD 4, except there's no tanks, just foot mobiles. If you suck at the whole bullet drop thing, then that blows because if you screw up, both Gaz and Price will take mortar fire or alert the entire base, and you'll end up having a tougher time fighting the enemy. So, get good. If you are already good, then this shouldn't be a problem for you. Never experienced it myself, but it's worth noting. I saw some videos involving the proximity chat. So let's say one of the bulky guys comes up to you and is standing right in front of you. If you have your mic on and you start talking, they can hear you and will attack. I tried it myself on just the patrol and nothing really happened to me at all. Not sure if it's just a meme, but it was worth bringing up because if it's real, it's a stupid decision. I don't know why it was ever added. Price and Gaz, once clearing the facility, make their way to the underground facility only to find a submarine. Karen is captured by AQ forces, leading to both Price and Gaz launching a rescue op with the help of Nikolai and Farah. Violence and timing. Fuck this mission. Fuck this stupid ass goddamn mission. This mission seems to exist to just show off the driving mechanics and the fact that you can now jump from car to car. This is the second most boring mission in this entire game and could have easily been shorter had they just developed it correctly. Anyways, Gaz and Price launch their rescue op to save Karen with the help of Farah and Nikolai. Gaz stays in the chopper, which is cool because you have the freedom to move around the chopper while taking out AQ forces. Eventually, he is shot out of the helicopter and has to do some upside down shooting, which is kind of cool. Blah, blah, blah. Car jump, take out guy, car jump. The team reaches Karen, who takes out her own captor. She reveals that only the guidance systems were in Spain at some point, which are now on missiles, revealing that only one person could know about them. El Sanambre. Soap, Ghost, Graves, and Alejandro devise a plan to get inside El Sanambre's compound. That way they can go in and capture El Sanambre to help them locate the missiles. Soap goes in as bait to help meet with El Sanambre. Alejandro, who somehow gets into the compound, poses as a guard. They make their way to an interrogation room, but not before a callback to the previous game.
They call me Soap.
¿Quién verga se llama jabón? Here I come. Oh, here I come. Oh.
You'll meet Diego and Valeria, who will make an attempt at interrogating you to see what you actually know. If you listen to Alejandro at the beginning of the mission, then it's pretty easy. If you don't, then you'll see the level of detail in the barrel of a deagle. If everything is on the up and up, the soldier across from you will be killed and you will be released. Brought upstairs to Alejandro, who has you find your way to El Sanambre's office. You can go two ways about this, at least based off what I did. One will have you kill Diego and take his keycard, and you'll just go up in the elevator, or go up to the roof and break into one of the rooms. You'll find out Valeria is El Sanambre. After clearing the room, she's taken captive and brought in for questioning. Apparently, Valeria and Alejandro know each other from their previous military experience. It is a longer cutscene, but I really recommend watching it, as it kind of reveals some small things about Alejandro and the state of the country, but Valeria reveals the location of one of the missiles and that it's currently in process. Darkwater. To the Gulf of Mexico we go, where Soap, Alejandro, Ghost, and Graves head to an oil rig to stop a missile from being launched on the US. It's a bit similar to the OG MW2 mission, The Only Easy Day Was Yesterday. I mean, you're infiltrating an oil rig. I don't know. That's close enough for me. I don't know. Bite me. The team pushes to the missile only to discover the controls were moved to a boat further away. The team has to get on the boat and play the worst game of Frogger possible to reach the controls. Once there, the missile is launched into the oil rig, and the day is saved for now. In the cutscene, it's revealed Graves and his men have taken over Alejandro's base, essentially just betraying Alejandro, his men, Ghost, and Soap. A shootout occurs, leading to Soap being wounded, with Ghost and Soap fleeing and Alejandro being captured. Oh, by the way, Shepard okayed this, so he has also betrayed this group. I will say this is my favorite point in the game because it's something that you saw coming from a mile away, but also was so well acted and animated that it sold the entire thing. Alone. Fuck this mission. Fuck everything it stands for. It is total garbage. This mission literally exists to showcase the future DMZ mode in MW2. I do not care. It is by far the worst mission in the game. It literally brings the game to a screeching halt. Will DMZ be good? Sure, but all of this could have been done in a tutorial in the multiplayer, not what is essentially a 40-minute campaign mission. It's Call of Duty, not Far Cry. Awful. Also, for those that are happy they revealed a little bit more about Ghost, it really doesn't. It just says that he had some bad missions and learned from his experiences. That's about it. It doesn't really tell us much about him, except for maybe some funny lines. Anyways, Soap, having taken a bullet and potentially bleeding out, is wandering the streets while evading Graves and his men. With some tips on survival from Ghost via radio, Soap must craft items to help him survive while killing some of Graves' men along the way. As you make your way through the mission, you see the horrors of Graves' warpath, killing innocent people and corrupt police, or not corrupt police. Probably anyone that is standing in his way. Soap eventually makes his way to Ghost, who escapes in a truck to Alejandro's safe house. Also, before someone asks, yes, I loved the back and forth between Ghost and Soap, but even that can't save this mission. Though, in the future, we should have more missions with them in these, not situations, but more of the little banter back and forth. Prison Break. Not the hit TV show where every season they seem to be escaping a prison. Soap, Rudy, and Ghost work to break out Alejandro and his men. If you enjoy Metal Gear Solid, you may like this mission. Maybe, because for some reason the developers had you do another one of these. At least it wasn't Stacy this time, and you can actually kill the enemies. Ghost works to place explosives to help cover their escape. The team then ends up finding itself trying to free Alejandro, and later his men, who try to escape and fight their way out of the prison. Luckily, Captain Price and Gaz save the day and help extract everyone out of the prison with Ford Transits. Hindsight. Karen reveals the origins of how the Russians and Hassan obtained the missiles. Apparently, Shepard had Shadow Company run a covert op to move the missiles, where they were eventually ambushed, with everyone being killed and the missiles being taken, making them look like idiots. Ghost Team. Don't say it. Don't you dare say it. Call of Duty Ghost 2, motherfucker!
It's freaking dog step.
God damn it. Yes, everyone becomes a ghost for the big mission where all the main characters assault Alejandro's old base to recapture it and kill Graves. They're divided up into multiple teams. I'm not going to really go into what they do and everything else, into specifics at least, because it doesn't matter. All I'll say is one sneaks in while the other goes balls to the wall. After fighting a lot of Shadow Company troops, Price takes a helicopter, ends up getting shot down, Valeria is recaptured by Alejandro, and Graves makes his way to the training area where Soap and Rudy, who does literally nothing, fight off Graves in a tank in the most laughably awful boss fight ever. It's a lot of you running around finding C4 and trying to blow up his tank. That's it. Literally, that's it. Do I think he's still alive? Yes, because somehow Alex lived from the first game, and the actor who played this guy was at least to some degree an interesting secondary villain who could have been better had he lived. The team meets up with Valeria again, who reveals a missile is being deployed in Chicago, causing the team, minus Alejandro, to rush to Chicago to stop the missile. Countdown. This will be quick. Infiltrate a skyscraper to stop Hassan and find the missile. Well, the missile launches, but you capture Hassan. Soap manages to stop the actual explosion of the missile, but for some reason, God knows why, the developers had the player do this crafting bullshit again to take out these two guys. Again, why? I mean, I understand it's to help sell the whole point of that he learned from Ghost, but it doesn't matter at all. Soap is shot, yet later it looks unscathed, with Hassan being killed. Yay! The aftermath shows that this was all seen as some big power outage or whatever, with Karen and Price having a discussion over the next big bad, with Karen showing a picture of the new big bad to Price, spoilers, Gaz, spoilers, Soap, spoilers, and Ghost, spoilers, who the next big bad is. And who is it, you may ask? Makarov, baby! I'll bet it right here. Let's go. That he is going to be relegated to being the Warzone villain. And if not him, it'll probably be Shepard, but my bet is that it's Makarov, who will have some sort of stupid death, and they aren't going to do this proper service to this character. I'd also like to point out, I thought this was the mission where Gaz was going to bite the bullet because of this scene, risking his own life to save his friends, which would have been a good way to end the character, but nope, the writers probably couldn't do that. No Russian. If you freaked out over this, I really don't know why. The game is bugged, so you have to find this cutscene in the cinematics tab, but it appears it's a hijacking that takes place with the phone showing a text saying, "No Russian." Obviously a callback to MW2's infamous No Russian mission. Yes, it probably sets up like an MW3 or a Warzone 2 kind of thing and a just regular callback, but I'm not losing my mind over this. Yeah, it's cool, but it's not really anything special. That's the MW2 campaign. Was it fun? Sure. Some missions were real standouts, but the character development, setup, and the forced gameplay mechanics that dragged down what could have been interesting missions and confusing direction really just made this a mediocre experience. It has cool moments, but it's nowhere near as good as Modern Warfare 2019. Honestly, a few things I would have changed was Alejandro being revealed as El Sinambre, as it seems like this was where they were going with it, Shepard and Graves being more of a behind-the-scenes of everything thing, with Makarov being teased earlier on, or even taking the role of Hassan, but in a more expanded role, because the character Hassan felt more or less like a weak antagonist, if anything else, while Shepard and Graves just felt more like idiots in need of cleaning up their own mess. I mean, for the love of God, OG MW2 Shepard orchestrated an entire plan to help rally a nation in being more patriotic, after losing a ton of people in that Al-Assad attack, to help him as a general be remembered as more of a hero. This Shepard, well, he's just an idiot who lost warheads and tried to cover it up. Even Ghost getting the Master Chief treatment of revealing a small bit of his face, but the developers being like, oh, nope, we can't show you any of that, not yet. You know what the character looks like? The voice actor, just like all the other characters. I mean, look at the eyes of the character and look at the eyes of the voice actor. They're the exact same. That's what he looks like. Again, the campaign isn't awful. It's serviceable, but I don't think this is it. It's a fun campaign that has some cool missions, but it's nowhere near as good as what MW 2019 was. I'd actually say the game by the end feels more like a Marvel movie in aspects of how the plot concludes than a gritty, dark, realistic military shooter. And you can't tell me this dumb bar scene doesn't make you think of a Marvel movie. Comparison being the end of Avengers 1. Last time I'll say it, the campaign isn't awful. It's fun, it's serviceable, mediocre if you would. But what do you think? Was the MW2 campaign actually good? Let me know what you think in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, great, leave a like. If you didn't, eat Arby's. Be sure to subscribe to avoid the clutches of MILF Hunter Wilson, and well,